Jai Hind everyone. My name is Pooja Pandey and I am assistant professor in the MC department in AKG college. And today I am going to discuss that framing in the computer networks, which that come in the topic in the computer networks. And according to the university, its subject code is BMC 303. So why do we need the framing when we are discussing about the framing? Actually, framing is a very important topic when we deliver messages from sender to the, when we deliver the message from one point to the another. And when we are studying the framing, the topic comes in our mind, that a question comes in our mind, that why do we need the framing? Why it is needed? Mainly, if we see that when we are talking about the OSI layer, we know that there are the 7 layers at the sender side and the 7 layers at the receiver side, right? And we know that what are the functionalities of each layer. But when we are talking about the board framing, we should know that we should be very, our objective should be very clear, that what the framing do, right? So we know that in the data link layer, when we are talking about the OSI layer, we know that from the bottom side, if we start from bottom side, it is a physical layer, right? And then it is come the data link layer. So data link layer, what is the responsibility of the data link layer? The responsibility of the data link layer is for just for reliable delivery of the data frames between the two nodes at the same network. But when we are talking about the reliable delivery of the data frames, now we are understanding the word data. But what do you mean by the meaning of the frame, that what we are discussing, right? So data link layer is mainly responsible for the reliable delivery of the data frames between the two nodes, that is from the sender. The two nodes, it means that one node is sender and the other node is the receiver. So the data, what it is traveling between the sender and the receiver, okay, that what they are traveling, it is a frame. Our message is traveling in the frame, in the size, in the you can say in the size or in the type of the frames between the two nodes. Now this network layer, and when we are talking about the network layer, the network layer send packet as a continuous streams of the bits. Now these frames, or in the different layer, it is called as the other words. In the network layer, when we talk about the network layer, it is known as the packets. So these packets are traveling in the continuous bits, right? So now data link layer, what the data link layer? The data link layer has the job that it has to divide these continuous stream into the manageable stream, right? Into the manageable unit, and which are called as a frame. For example, if you see that when we are talking about a long paragraph in a English, when we are writing something in when we are writing a paragraph in the English, we see that the framing, you say, we see that we are just starting a sentence, right? Now for understanding, a writer or a person or a reader will understand that paragraph when there is a proper punctuation marks, proper full stop, proper comma is there. So in English, you can understand the frame means that your this colon marks, right? Your full stop, your punctuation marks. So these will add a proper structure to the sentence, and that will make understandable to the reader, or you say the receiver. In the same way, our frameworks, right? So now we come on the framing part. Here you have studied that, we have discussed that the data link layer divide this stream, that is this continuous stream, into the manageable units, right? And this is called the frame. But what do you mean by what is a framing? So you can say that by the that definition, our new definition come to the point that framing is a process of dividing the data stream received from the network layer into the data units, and it is called a frame for the transmission over the physical layer. Okay, if you find this definition very in some complexity, then you can say that the framing is a point-to-point connection between the two devices that consist of wire in between. In that wire, we can transmit the stream of the bits, right? that is this is a sender, this is your receiver, and here the data is traveling from one part to the another, and this is a frame, right? So this is a point-to-point connection between the two devices, right, through which our data is traveled. Now, what is the purpose of the framing? The purpose of the framing is to start, to identify the start and the end of each frame. Second, to detect or correct errors in transmission. And third, to ensure the synchronization between the sender and the receiver. Now, this purpose can be easily explained in the further slide in very, you can say in very detailed form, that how they are satisfying the, or what is the purpose of the framing. But in detail, we have to understand first the structure of the frame, that what actual the frame look like. Then only we can clear that what is the purpose of the frame. Now, if you see that in this here, it is a sender, right? And this is a, you can say receiver. This framing consists of the two parts, that is device 1, it is taken as a sender, and device 2 is taken as a receiver. So, let us understand this diagram. If we take this diagram as an example, we will see that we have given a two devices, right? And they are attached through the adapter. These adapter, because of these adapter, they are attached. Now, this adapter, if you say this adapter will be sending the data into the signals which will flow from this end to the this end, from this end to the this end, right? So, you see this is a framing. This you can understand, this is a framing. What I am saying in this definition, that framing is a point-to-point connection between the two devices that consist of the wire in which data is transmitted as a stream of bits. Now, you see here the diagram that two devices and data is connected to the wire through which the which is transmitted through this wire, and everything is transferring from one part to the another. So, this is the actual meaning of the framing, okay. Now, if we are talking in terms of the now, when we were discussing the definition, that what do you mean by the framing, right? So, now I have taken an example for the framing for in the English subject, that you have taken the paragraph, and if you are putting the punctuation marks, you are putting the semicolon, colon, full stop, then that is in the readable size, right? But when we are talking in terms of the computer networks, what actual the framing, what actual the frames are, what actual the frame look like, okay. So, first we have to understand that frames in computer networks, this frames in computer networks refers to the data units, okay. Data units, whatever the data units we are providing in the data link layer, according to the OSI layer, that is a second layer, that is known as your frames, okay. Now, these frames are, you can say, they are encapsulated packets from the network layer. Before the network layer is, again, you have to keep in mind that according to the OSI layer, the network layer is a third most layer, right? So, for network layer, that frame or that packet is encapsulated, and it also, you can say, there we have taken a additional control information like the header and the trailer for the transmission over the physical media, okay. Now, these frames facilitate, or you can say they provide the reliable and efficient communication between the device and the network. Now, how we achieve this part? We achieve this part when we are going to understand that what is the structure of the frame actually. Here I am saying that header and the trailer. Now, what do you mean by the header and the trailer when we are talking in terms of the data link layer? We are talking about it. What do you mean by the frames, right? So, if you see in this diagram that what actual the frame, that is the parts of the frame, what actual the frame look like, okay, that you have to understand. See, normally, this is from the sender side, you can say, and this is for the receiver side, right? This is a sender and this is a receiver side. So when we are talking about the frames, first we have to understand how the frame look like. So frame, when we are talking about the frame, actually this whole part is considered as a frame, right? This header part contains the frame. You say that this header part contains the frame source and this header part contains the frame destination address. Why? Because this frame is for the destination and this frame is for the receiver, right? So this part contains, this header part contains the sender, this header part contains the both the frame source and the frame destination part, right? Now, if I am talking about this payload field, this payload field is actually the message that we have to deliver from one part, from the sender to the receiver, right? For example, I am sending hello to the sender, to receiver. So before sending the hello, you say that this hello is transferring to the other part of the sender, but here it is a header. It contains the source part and the destination part, and this is my actual message, and this actual message what I am going to deliver is known as the, in terms of the networks, it is known as a payload field, right? And when I am talking about, you say trailer part, right? Now trailer, you say that trailer contains the error detection and correction bits. It helps, you have to understand, this trailer part actually helps if there is any error in while receiving the bit, whatever I am sending the message. In terms of the networks, we know that each message is converted into the bits, that is 0 and 1 form. So whenever I am transferring my, or I am sending my message to these in the form of the 0 and 1, the receiver is getting. But how we are able to find out that whatever actual message we have sent to the receiver, it is received as it is what I have sent, right? So who is going to tell that part is a trailer? You see here, this trailer part will tell that the code is corrected or it is an error, and if there is an error, there are certain you can say methods we apply that automatically correct our data, okay? And again, here it is a frame, flag. We are using a flag here. So it will point the starting and the end point of the frame. Okay. So this is the structure of the frame, whatever I am sending from the sender side and the receiver side. So understand the thing, when understand the structure of the, again I am repeating, this payload will tell the actual message from both the side it has received. I am sending the hello from here and the same hello is received here, right? And this header is telling the source and the destination. Now this header is showing the destination address. Now this trailer is again, whatever the message I have sent hello, it is changed into the bits, that is 0 and the 1, and this 0, 1 is actually what I have sent. It is you can say it is received by the receiver as same as what the sender has sent. That will be checked by your trailer part. If there is any problem, you say that this trailer part, because it contains the error detection and the correction bit, our data is corrected, right? So this is you can say this is your sending machine and this is your receiving machine. This is how our message is transferred from one part to the other part. Clear? Now, this is a part of the frame. Now we have to understand that how actually the framing is done. in the OSI layer. When we are talking about the layers, when we are talking about the OSI layer, how it is done, that we have to understand that how framing is done. First thing is that whatever the data I am going to send to the receiver, okay, that data is divided into the small units, and that is called as your frames. Okay, now keep in mind the structure of the frame. That what is the structure of the frame? If you remember, the structure of the frame says that it has a header part, it has a message, then it has a trailer part, right? So it means that each frame contains the header part and the payload. Payload is whatever the actual data. You can also say that it contains the trailer part. That what this line says. Now, the sender attaches the header and sends the frame to the receiver. Okay. Whatever the sender is saying, that the sender attach that header and sends the message to whom it is sending. It is sending to the receiver, right? This is a frame. Now, the receiver receives the header, checks for the errors through the trailer part, and it extracts the actual data. Okay, so that is received. Now, if any frame is lost or corrupted, only that part will be retransmitted. It should be keep in mind when we are talking that how our data or how our message is transferred, we should keep in mind that the receiver will read the actual message, right? And if there is an, you can say the receiver reads the header, then it will, the receiver will reads the header, and if there is an error, it will extract that error, and it will, that error will be, you can say, if any frame, and if we are extracting the error, it means there isn't any loss of data or any corruption is there. So only that frame will be, again it will be retransmitted, you say. Now, this will ensures that efficient and reliable communication between the devices. So there is a no loss of data, because if there is an error in the message, that will be extracted from the trailer part, and again that corrupted part will be retransmitted. So receiver is getting all the message in that sequence only. Okay, so this diagram shows, or what I have explained is that how actually the framing is done. Now, when we have understood that what do you mean by the framing, why it is needed, and what is the structure of the frame, now we have to understand that mainly the framing is divided into the two parts. The first part is your fixed size framing. In this fixed size framing, you should understand that the frame has a fixed size. Okay, so the frame length will be act as a delimiter of the frame. It will not require any additional boundary. For example, if a device is sending the 200 bits of the data and 50, and that frame size, let us suppose that I am going to explain this example. For example, if sender is sending 200 bits, sender wants to send the 200 bits. And how it is sending? He has to send the data with the help of the frame, right? And now, let us suppose that our frame size contain the 50. One frame size, how many maximum bits it can take? It can take only 50 bits, right? Then after the receiving the 50 bits of the data, that only 50 bits it will send, right? Now receiver, as soon as receiver receives these 50 bits, the receiver knows that the next 50 bits are also coming, because our how many bits we have to send? 200, and one frame is taking only 50 bits, right? So it means that we have to transmit the four frames, right? 50, 50, 50, and receiver is knowing that this much amount of frame I have to receiving. So this is a fixed size. Beyond 50, I cannot include any other extra bit in that frame. That we have to keep in mind, right? Now, the second part is your variable size framing. When we are talking about the variable size, variable, it means again it is dividing the data into the frames where each frame can have a variable size. The size can be changed. In the similar example, when I am taking the 200 bits of data, okay, let us suppose that one frame contains the 100, 200 I have to send, and I am taking the one frame of size of the 100. Second, I am taking this frame size of the 25. Okay, you can say 100 byte, and again I am taking the 25. So how much? 100, 25, 25. It means that it doesn't have a fixed size. Your size of the frame can be changed according to how many bits you can transmit at a single time. So that is your variable size framing. Clear? Now, this is an important part, that what do you mean by the framing techniques? If I am discussing the framing techniques, the framing technique is, first we are going to study the byte count, flag byte with the byte stuffing, flag bits with the bit stuffing, and physical layer coding violation. These are the four framing techniques that everyone should know, and it shows that how we are able to find out the errors when there is any error is there, how that corrupted bits are transmitted, how actually that special frame which is containing the corrupted bits, only that bit is retransmitted, right? So first we are going to study about the byte count framing. In the byte count framing method, we use that a field in the header, it will specify the number of bytes in the frame. We know that the data link layer will send the data to the receiver side. Now, this data is sent in the part of the, you can say, byte count. Actually, I am coming to the directly to the logic, what that means. If you are seeing this diagram, that this is a error free, and here it has have a error. Okay, this is error free. Here if you see, I have got a frame size of the 5 character. How I am saying the 5 character? See, here this 5 is showing the frame size, right? If I count from here from 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So this frame contains the 5 character, and this first box in the, you can say in the frame, it simply shows that it is a 5 character frame, right? Again in the frame 2, again it is 5. How I can see it is a 5? Here you see that it is a 5, right? Now in character 8, if you see that here it is showing the first header part is 8. Frame 3, first header is showing the 8. It means in that frame we have got the 8 characters, right? Now in frame 4, again we have got the first is 8. So again I am saying that we have got in frame 4 we are getting the 8 characters, right? So this is a error free. Okay, but when I am saying, now here you see we are simply just counting the count, we are counting the byte count. Okay, this header part is specifying the number of the bytes in the frame. So that is a byte count framing. And now when there is an error, how you are going to find out the error? See, here if I see that same is transferring, right? From this is, you can say this is a sender and this is a receiver part. Here if it is a 5, you see if you count, then again I am getting the this character as a 5, right? 5 character. Frame 1 has got the 5 character. Now this part is clear. Here if you see, what is this? Here it is a 5. What I am receiving? Here I am receiving the 7. Now there is an error, right? So this frame is wrong. Okay. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But here it should be a 5. So where it is wrong? Here. Now from this, when when the error has been found out, now from this part, it is again, you say it is retransmitted. This frame from this part, this frame is again retransmitted because it does not match the frame, header frame. Whatever the sender has sent, it is not actually matching. So that trailer part has found out and it is again retransmitted, right? So that is what in the byte count framing. Now, if I am saying the byte oriented framing or byte stuffing, it means that in this method we use simply a flag byte is used to mark the both the beginning and the end of a frame, right? When we are using the flag byte in binary, flag byte is usually simply you say this is an actual message, and but when we are talking about the byte oriented framing or byte stuffing, we are actually just adding the flag bit at the starting point and at the end point. Now these consecutive flag byte will show the start of the next frame. Clear? This will show end of the one frame and this will show the start, right? Now, there is a concept comes that loss of synchronization. What do you mean by that loss of synchronization in the byte oriented framing or byte stuffing? If the receiver loses the synchronization, how we are going to find out? It will simply search the two flag bytes, right, to resynchronize. And what are the two black bytes? That is your starting point and the ending point. Whenever a receiver is losing the synchronization, we are only finding out or we are only identifying these two parts. That is one frame ends and the next begins. Clear? Now, here it comes up. Now, there sometime comes that when we are sending some certain pattern we are sending, there are a pattern that same flag pattern may cause the accident because receiver will repeat it again. So, if it is we are getting, if it is in this you can say in the result part or at the receiver side, again we are getting a this wrongly interpreted, right? If 2, for example, 0 1 0 1 1 1 here and there is 0, right? If in between the message, if there is a flag part, then at the receiver side, it will repeat, it will read it wrong. First, we will get this one and then we will study this. But I want the data as a whole part. Okay. So, for what we will do, we will just write it here, the escape as a escape byte before the each accidental flag byte. And as we are writing this, the escape byte, and when the bits are received at the receiver side, that escape byte is just, it is removed from the layer before passing the data to the network layer. How it is done, we will see in this diagram. See, our mainly our structure, or you say, how we are saying our structure is this. We have seen that header payload field, if you clear. Now, when we are talking about the byte flag, byte stuffing, what we simply do, we just simply add flag byte at the starting point and the at ending point. It's completed. Now, after, if we are getting the accidental unwanted escape, how we are going to do it? Just we have to see. See, here what we are writing, A flag B. Now, flag is considered as in, you can say the starting and the end in the byte stuffing. And if originally if I am adding the flag here and flag here, what will we get? We will get A. This flag will also be cancelled. We will get B. But what actually I want? I actually want the same, this one, this message I want. So what I will do, before the stuffing or before sending, what I am going to do, I am just simply adding the flag at the starting point, flag at the end point, and here I am going to add the escape, this escape. So then after stuffing, and what we will receive, this flag will be discarded. So I will get A, Now the escape will be discarded at the transmitter side, at the receiver side. So here I will get the flag and then B. Okay. Now in the case of this A escape B, right? Escape is also now a delimiter, right? Here what I am doing, just simply adding the flag, and when I am talking, when my data is going to send there, what I am adding here, just writing I am here the escape. That is flag A escape escape B flag. And what will we do? This flag will be cancelled, this flag will be cancelled, and this escape will be cancelled. Sorry. We will get this A escape and B. In the similar case, A escape flag B, if I am getting, what I am going to add? I am going to add flag here, escape here, then again escape here, right? See, simply A escape, 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 flag. Here flag, flag will be cancelled, escape will be cancelled, here escape will be cancelled. What I am getting the final message? A escape, flag B. Right. Similar in the case of the A escape, escape B. We are simply adding the flag here, escape here, right? And this escape and this escape will be cancelled if you see. Then flag here, what we will get? A escape, escape, escape B. So now you can understand how we are getting the actual message, what the sender is sending with the help of the byte stuffing, right? Now, if I am going to study about the flag bits with the bit stuffing, you see that in the flag bit with the bit stuffing, here in this method, bit stuffing is used. What I am doing, I am sending the message like this one, right? At the, you can say, when the sender sends the data link layer, when the 5 consecutive ones are there, after 5 consecutive 1, 0 is automatically stuffed there. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here we will stuff the 5, 0. You see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here I have stuffed the 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here I have stuffed the 0. And when we are sending this message at the receiver side, this 0 is automatically deleted. So we will get the original message what I have sent. In this method, simply you have to keep in mind that after consecutive 1, we have simply to add the 0, 1, 0 bit. And when we are getting the message, when we are passing that message or sending this message to the receiver, at the receiver side, this 0 what I have added, but I have stuffed as a bit stuffing, it is already, it is automatically it is discarded and we are getting the original message. That is in the case of the flag bits with the bit stuffing. Now, when I am discussing this is the last part, that is your physical layer coding violation. It will, first we have to understand how it occurs. It occurs when a single pattern or a vocal transition does not follow the role of the physical layer encoding scheme. Previously, we have studied that what do you mean by the Manchester, NRZ1 and 4B/5B, right? These are the method we use. So, what are the causes here? The received bit pattern is invalid and it is not aligning according to the encoding method. In the encoding method, we studied the Manchester encoding and NRZ1. We have already studied that, right? So, what are the purpose or the use of this? It will help to detect the errors at the physical layer. So, with the help of these encoding schemes, we can find out the error, whatever the error it is occurring in the physical layer. And mainly this is used at the data link layer to indicate the control information such as frames start or the end. So, we are using the Manchester encoding also or NRZ also, right? Now, for example, in the Manchester encoding, every bit must have a mid transition bit. If their transition is, if there is a no transition, it means that it is a coding violation. And it is mainly used at the Ethernet, fast Ethernet or fiber channel. In short, we can say that a coding violation is an invalid signal pattern that is used to detect the error or mark frame or the boundaries, right? So, this is a physical layer coding violation. So, all what we have studied here that what do you mean by the framing, what is the structure of the framing, and the types of the, or you can say the techniques of the framing. So thank you all, and we will meet in the next presentation.